Over to you guys.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having us here. The secret to our success is really the cornerstone of the shake. The shake mix that tastes like a cake mix. Now, a lot of people ask me why ours are so good. It's the quality of the protein, the quality of the ingredients. And I'll let these two talk about the science in a minute, but there's only 3 things that food companies can do to cheat food to make them taste good. And it's logical common sense. Fat, salt, sugar. What do you do with bland bread? You put butter on it or you dip it in oil because fat makes the flavor in your mouth bigger. And some of the brands out there have a lot of fat in their shakes and a lot of saturated fat, which we know is not healthy for you. What do you do with bland food? You put salt on it, right? Because the salt makes the flavor bigger. Well, we have only 75 milligrams of sodium. That's the same amount as in a cup of skim milk. And why? Well, on the news this morning, we eat too much sodium. We eat, on average, 40 to 50% more than we should. It leads to hypertension, all sorts of other health issues. And then sugar. You heard us say it on stage today. The average teenager is eating 4 pounds of sugar a week. The average adult's eating 8 ounces of sugar a day, but only 1 ounce of lettuce a day. So we know our diets are unhealthy. So if you look at our shake and compare it to any other shake on the market, we are lower sugar, lower sodium, lower fat, better flavor because of the quality of the ingredients. And those ingredients include our SOY protein blend. So I'm going to turn to Dr. Simon and answer that question again that we answered on stage. Soy protein. What do you think of soy protein?
Can I talk about salt for one more second? I'm sorry. Yeah. So there was just a study that just showed that 1 out of 10 people in the world are dying because of too much salt in your diet. So it's a huge problem. 1 out of 10 people will die because of too much salt. So, what was your question? No, I remember. It was about soy. So, what do you want to know about soy?
Was it easy to digest?
Yeah. So soy is an amazing protein. I don't know how many of you were there for this morning session where we briefly talked about it. But soy has been around for as long as God had built this planet, right? And it's been here forever. I mean, you can say the same about poison hemlock. It's been around too. Because poison hemlock is bad for you. Soy is very good for you. So, soy is just a very well-absorbed protein. It has a lot of incredible benefits for you. It's easy on the digestive system, and we've actually taken the isoflavones out, so it's isoflavone-free. Actually, for the FDA, it's isoflavone-free. For the FTC,
for the FTC, it's isoflavone-free. For the FDA, it's reduced isoflavone.
Yeah, so it's pretty much non-existent, is the long story short. And we took it out for a variety of reasons, but this is what I was addressing earlier. There are about 150,000 different kinds of phytonutrients that are known. There were a couple that actually happen to be in our soy. We removed them, but you still get them if you take the package, you take the flavoring that we added in the shakes. There's a lot of different phytonutrients that your body needs.
And Dr. Witherly, what do you think of soy?
I just can't do this sitting down. Chinese eat soy all day long. They don't seem to have a problem with it.
Now, the funny thing is, I get a lot of emails from a lot of the promoters that go, oh, but so-and-so says that only fermented soy is healthy for you.
So, 2 other things about soy. The soy that we use is not GMO, which means it's not genetically modified. Very important. Actually saying, write that down. So we have a non-GMO soy, that's very important. The other thing, I was interviewed about the benefits of soy. We have one of the largest North American processing plants of soy milk in Michigan, and I was interviewed for a large paper. And the funniest thing is that the interviewer interviewed me in my lab for about 45 minutes about the benefits of soy, and about osteoporosis, and about cognition, and about healthy bones and healthy heart, and all the good things that soy is critical for. And she says, okay, Dr. Simon, after interviewing me for about 45 minutes, just can you give me like one summary? I said, sure, soy is great. Yeah, she says, okay, great. And then the next day I read the paper and I said, honey, to my wife, I'm in the paper and she's reading this first page, nothing in there, second page. Dr. Michael Seidman, medical director of wellness at a very large health system in the Midwest, says, quote, soy is great, unquote. I'm like, dude, you talked to me for 45 minutes. So, soy is great.
Okay, one last point is the formulator. Why soy is in there. Soy is the last protein we digest, and it makes you feel full at the end. Remember, whey hydrolyzing first, then whey, then soy. Soy does something whey does not. Do you know what it is? Lowers cholesterol. You got 100% whey formula from the competition, Ask them what it does to their cholesterol.
How many Americans, women, go through menopause and have significant issues with hot flashes? Overwhelmingly, the vast majority of women. In Asia, it is almost non-existent. Why? A lot of soy in the diet.
And to answer the question on why we don't use fermented soy, that's actually another one of those myths that out on the internet. And how many of you have ever done the telephone game? Trust me, those myths about soy on the internet, and certain doctors out there that I swear I will slap if I ever meet them. It's crazy. But we don't use fermented soy because that's miso and soy sauce. The protein is killed, so there's a lot of myth out there. Now we do have the Trizor protein blend because there are clinicals that show that the blend that we're using helps build lean muscle more effectively than a single protein alone. And again, our protein is the highest quality, most absorbable protein on the planet today. And we add in aminogen to help make it even more absorbable. So you don't need a lot of protein. When mixed with milk, you're getting 20 to 25 grams, the amount nutritionists recommend most. And it's easily digested, which is why you find soy protein in baby foods.
And soy is great.
I love that. You know, and if for those of you who are writing notes, some of the highlights right now, that center dot, non-GMO, isoflavin free. When you have these people who think they're really smart, who know everything about soy, just say, oh yeah, that doesn't apply to us because we're non-GMO, isoflavin free soy.
So that was one of the other concerns, is that they said, okay, women who had an estrogen receptor positive breast cancer or ovarian cancer can't have soy. That's not true. You actually can have soy in reasonable amounts, but again, ours are isoflavin free, so there's no daxine, no genistein. Those are the two phytoestrogens that theoretically can cause problems. There's a recent study out there now that looked at 9,000 people from Asia that had breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and the ones who were on the soy actually fared much better, didn't have a second incidence of cancer.
Could you say it more quickly?
And you also talked to Dr. Messina, who said we aren't going to turn our men into girly men, right?
That's true. So Dr. Messina is one of the leading authorities on soy. He's now a personal friend of mine because I've talked to him over the years for different reasons. And you are not getting for the men in the room who are bodybuilders. You're not going to get man boobs. I was speaking to a bodybuilder who is on the BiPAC, on neuro, and on the shakes, and he's added 15 pounds, and also he's reduced his body fat, and so he thinks it's all muscle. I saw the guy, I think it's all muscle too. So.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason why is because it's more highly absorbed. You heard Audrey talk about that. That's the reason we chose the highest grade protein on the market, because it's more highly absorbed. And for those folks out there, Audrey just answered another objection. Did you catch the one about, well, I only see so many grams of protein? That's a huge takeaway right there. If you haven't gotten that, maybe one day you will. And you heard her, to keep it simple, ladies and gentlemen, it's quality over quantity. It drives me crazy to think that people walk into a GNC or a vitamin shop and they're like, oh, this one, look at the back of the labeling. It has 45 grams of protein per serving. Can you talk about that for just a second?
Yeah, a lot of protein, first of all, not all protein is created equal. And so a lot of companies will take gelatin, and spike the grams of protein in their shake by adding gelatin. Now, gelatin is great for skin, hair, and nails, but it's not going to build your lean muscle. Other companies use dehydrated milk powder. Okay, that's great. We want you to mix your shake with milk. Calcium's good for you. Not going to build your lean muscle the same way. Then other people use simple whey concentrate. It's about whey, just plain whey. It's about 70%, 74% absorbable. So when you see those 40 grams, it's because you're not going to absorb as much. And that's really where ours is cutting edge, is we put in the higher quality proteins. And the other thing that drives me nuts is people go, soy isolate's bad for you. All it means is it's isolated protein out of all the rest of the stuff in soy.
That is a huge, huge, huge takeaway. Guys, give them a round of applause for those answers.